ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णा चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थसुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto, chapter 29, verse 10 and 11. So these two verses are describing how the gopis who were obstructed from joining Sri Krishna in the Rāsa-līlā by their relatives, they meditated on Krishna and Krishna appeared to them, and then they gave up their gunamaya deha and attained Krishna. So we've been reading the commentary of Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on this. Any question before we start? So we read the explanation given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that how this Gunmaya Deha was basically the impurity in the mind which they gave up by the intense meditation. They got purified and then they attained Krishna. So we are here. So it says Pati Krita Varanat Madhviraha Santapacha Svedehans Tabjihasu Namapi Tasam Param Amangala Rāsotsavarambe Marnasya Mangalasya Mad Anabhimatvat Takalyanvatyaha Eva Bhavaniti Bhagavad Abhiprayat. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining that when it is said that they gave up their Gunmaya Deha, it is not that they gave some physical form. And then he was referring to Sri Krishna's statement where he says, Yamaya Kridita Ratriam Vanayasmin Vajasthita Alabdha Rasa Kalyano Mahapur Madhvirya Chintaya. So the statement of Krishna to Uddhava, that where he is addressing these gopis who were not able to join him because they were stopped, Alabdha Rasa, he is calling them as Kalyani, which is another word for auspicious or Shreyas. So he says, because the word Kalyani has been used by Sri Krishna himself, and so they were Patikrita Varanat Madhviraha Santapacha Svedehans Tada Jihasu Namapi. So although they desired to give up their bodies because of intense separation from Sri Krishna, being obstructed by their husbands, but this will be highly inauspicious at the beginning of the most auspicious Rāsa-līlā. So Param Mangala Rāsotsavarambe, this festival of Rāsa-līlā, which is most auspicious, and if there is a death at the beginning of that festival, that will be Amangala. So Marnasya Amangalasya Mad Anabhimatatvat. So therefore Krishna says that this is not approved by me, that this should happen. So therefore Taha Kalyani Vatya Eva Bhavan. So therefore they became auspicious instead of being the cause of inauspiciousness. And that is the significance of the word Kalyanyo Mamap. So it is so interesting that how one word coming in the 47th chapter is being related to these slokas here, and with such deep meaning. So that shows how intensely they studied Bhāgavatam, each word of this book. Otherwise, something said here, something said there, that's also just one word, Kalyani. That he used the word Kalyani. So, Bhagavad Abhiprayat. So he says this is the intention of Sri Krishna when he is using the word Kalyanvati. Tathacha tathata uchu uddhavam prita tatsandesha agata smriti iti sukvakyatcha. So later on when Uddhava came and he met the gopis, so Sri Sukadeva Goswami also said that when they heard the message from Krishna, then it says Tathata Uchu Uddhavam. So then they spoke to Uddhava, Prita, being very pleased, and Tat Sandesha Agata Smriti. So they recollected by hearing the message of Krishna. Means this is the sloka which Uddhava spoke, so then they understood what Krishna was referring to. So ta uchurya purvam alabdharasa antargriha niruddha asaniti. So therefore they said that who are these who spoke? So these very ones who were stopped. Because Krishna is using the word alabdharasa for them. not the ones who had joined in rasa, because this does not apply to them. He is specifically using the word alabdha rasa, that who were not able to join the Rāsa-līlā. So this obviously excludes those who reached there. So that means in this verse Krishna is specifically speaking about these antargriha gata kashit gopya labdha avinirgama, sloka number 9. So therefore he is showing that the word alabdha rasa, not able to reach Rāsa-līlā, and antargriha gata kashit, those who were closed inside the house, they are the same. So tena maranam vinaeva ta gunmayan dehan jahur iti. So therefore it is to be understood that without death they gave up their gunmaya body. So they did give up the gunmaya body, but not by dying. So then obviously it has to be explained. So then it says viraha tivra tapa randhita tasam gunmaya deha gunmayatvam parityajya chinmayatvam dhruvadinam eva prapureva. So he says therefore the meaning is that by the heat of separation. So if you want to burn something, how do you burn? By heating it, right? Like the summer here. So in that heat of separation, randhita means cooked. So this pakva kasaya, kashaya is the word which is used for impurities, and it says that they get cooked. Like you have some bacteria, you kill them. If you heat, they get killed. So like that, they are randhita. So their kashayas were cooked in the heat of separation. And therefore this gunmaya deha, the gunmaya bodies, gunmayatvam parityajya chinmayatvam prapo. So their gunmayata, their characteristic of being consisting of the gunas, they dropped that and attained chinmayatva. Just like Dhruva, Dhruvadinam. So just as Dhruva, he had a material body, but when he was going to Vaikuntha or Dhruvaloka, so at that time, his body without death turned into spiritual body. So this is same. So this happened generally, like in case of Narada Rishi, it is described there that he gave up his panch bhautik, nepat panch bhautikam. So niyamane. So that his panch bhautika body was dropped, and prayujyamane mam bhagavatim tanu. So he's got the Bhagavati Tanu and the other one was dropped. So that means he underwent the experience of death. But in case of Dhruva, he did not have the experience of death. So he says that this is similar. This is unusual. Generally it doesn't happen. Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityu, dhruvam janma mritasya cha. So anyone who has taken birth has to die. So here that rule does not apply. There is no death. But although the word is used, Jahu Gunmayam Deham. So Gunmaya Deha was dropped, but there was no death. So this is something very special. And the example of this is Dhruva Maharaj, which came earlier. So Dhruvadinam eva prapur esha eva dehatyage iti artho avgamyate. So this is the meaning of giving up of body. So this is the giving up of body without giving up the body. This is called death without death. So he says this is the meaning which should be understood. Iti artha avgamyate. Tatha atra alabdha vinirgama iti tatra vraja asthita iti. So he is comparing more that here it is said that antargriha gata kaschid gopyo alabdha vinirgama. Right? Here it is said that they were not able to come out. Antargriha gata kaschid alabdha vinirgama. Gopyo alabdha vinirgama. And Krishna is using a similar word. He says vraja asthita. Alabdha rasa means they could not go, and vraja asthita. So vraja and Vrindavan, these two words, although used interchangeably, but Vrindavan means the forest where Krishna goes for tending the cows, and vraja means where they live. So when he played the flute, he was in Vrindavan, and the gopis came from vraja. That's why Krishna will ask them this question: Swagatam vo Mahabhaga priyam kim karvani va vrajasya anamyam kaschit bruta agaman karanam. He says, welcome, welcome, what can I do for you, my dear lovely gopis? Is everything alright in vraja? So one may think, well, he is in vraja, why he is saying everything is in vraja? So vraja means the residence place, and Vrindavan is so the same meaning is here when he is saying vraja asthita, that means they could not come, they stayed in the house. So that's how he is further confirming this meaning. So alabdha vinirgama iti tatra vraja asthita iti. Tatha atra dhyana prapte achyut ashlesha iti tatra ma apur madvirya chintya iti tulyarthata eva. So here it is said that dhyan prapta achyuta ashlesha, that through meditation they attained embrace of Krishna. And Krishna is saying the same thing. He is saying that ma apur madvirya chintaya, that thinking of my prowess or my love here, they attained me. So therefore this verse spoken by Krishna has the same meaning as the verse number in this 9 and 10 combined together, and of course 11. So therefore it says tulya arthata eva, that there is same meaning together if you see them. Kintu atra sangata iti tatra alabdha rasa iti artha bheda darsnadeva antargriha niruddha gopinam dvaividhyam vyakhyata. So but here there is one distinction, that Krishna says alabdha rasa, that they could not come to the rasa. But here it says that sangata taveva paramatmanam jar buddhyapi sangata, that they attained him, that very Paramatma. So how is this to be seen? So he says it is seeing this difference in meaning, that he made two divisions of gopis who were stopped. So antargriha niruddha gopinam dvaividhyam vyakyatam. So there are two types which were described. Remember that some were able to join the same day, same night, and others could not join but later. He made two divisions of them. So now he explains more on this. So yatha sapta ashtanam phalanam samyak pake avgate satyam sati amra vrikshoyam pakva phala iti jnatva sarvani eva phalani vrikshad avchitya grihe maniyante. So this is some practical example he is giving, that if you have a mango tree, this is the mango season now, so mangoes come, have many fruits on it. All the fruits don't become ripe same time. So some become ripe and some don't. But those who have the tree, They are not picking up, this is ripe, now let me pick up this, and that is not ripe, leave it there. So when they see that some fruits have become ripe, then they pluck all the fruits. Because it's a headache to pluck one here and one there, and also you have to protect them. So this is how they do. So they go and they pluck everything. And then they make them ripe. So that means they understand that now this, they will say, well, the fruits of this tree are ripe now. Once they see that few of them are ripe, then the whole tree is considered as tree with ripe fruits. Although not all of them are completely ripe. But they almost, some are fully ripe, some are almost ripe, some are 90% ripe, some are 80%, like that. So therefore he says that seeing that 7 or 8 fruits are completely ripe, then they say that this tree is ripe now. And they pluck all the fruits of that tree and bring home. So vrikshadavchitya grihamaniyante. Aniyecha yani yani samuchit kalena saurikranadina cha saurupya saurabhya saurasya saukumaryavanti ragya bhogarahani rojkani jatani tani phalani vichakshan parijanena pariskritya samaye ragya bhogaya parikalpyante. So he is now giving the example as if it is a king and it is his garden, and his gardener brings all the mangoes. So then he keeps the mangoes, all these which have been plucked, and then he ripes them. So in the village, I remember what he used to do is that you have them and then put these mangoes in the bhusa. You know this chaff which is fed to the cows? So you put inside and it has heat in it, so it will ripe it. So then after a few days you check, whichever is ripe, take that out and eat. So that's what he's saying. That you take them out. These days they ripe them by chemicals, but in the olden days that was the way to ripe any fruit, papaya, mango, etc. Plug them and put them in the bhusa. And they get ripe there. No chemical. So he says that whatever fruits become ripe by the heat in due course of time, so then they have nice color. Once they are ripe, from greenish they become yellowish. They also have a nice smell, saurabhya and saurasya. They are very tasty and they become soft. So everything changes. So then Artha Saukumaryavanti Ragya Bhogarani Rojkani Jatani. So the person understands that these mangoes, now they are fit to be offered to the king because they are ripe. So Tani Phalani Vichakshan Parijanena Pariskritya Samaya Ragya Bhogaya Parikalpyante. So those who are expert knowing which fruit is ripe and which can be offered, which still takes time, so then they take them out, they clean them, and then they are offered to the king for his pleasure. So he says the same thing was done to the gopis. So he says, Yani tu antah pakwani bahira pakwani saurupyadi gunarahitatvad arasniyani ragyo narhani jayante tani ayusma vishesha yogena paripakvikritya eva dutiya tritiya dinadishu ragya samarpyante. So then some fruits which are although ripe inside, but they are still not ripe outside. So outside they are still little hard, and therefore their color is not yet yellow, they are not soft, they don't have that smell, and obviously the taste. So they are not yet fit to be offered to the king. So knowing this, then they are given special heat, as I said, covering them. And when they are ripened, then on the second day or third day or fourth day, as they are ripening, then they are offered. So he says that same way, tathaiva gokule janitanam municharinam gopinam madhye या प्राकृत गुणमय शरीरताम परित्यज्य प्रथममेव शुद्ध चिन्मयी भूत शरीरा अजनिषत ता पुरुषांतर स्पृष्टः श्री योग माया नित्य सिद्धादि गोपी भी सहैव अभिसारित. So now he comes, because remember 4 types of gopis: Nitya Siddha, Sadhan Siddha, then Sadhan Siddha, Yautaki and Ayautaki, and in Yautaki there are Shrutichari and Munichari. And then he was talking about Munichari. So he said that those Municharis whose Gunmaya body was already purified, so they were born here in Braja with Chinmaya body only. So Prakrit Gunmaya Sharirtam Parityajya Prathamam Eva. So from their very birth, they are pure Chinmaya, Suddha Chinmaya, Bhuta Sharira Ajanisha. That's how they were born. And therefore they were not touched by any man. And then by Yogamaya, they were allowed to join Krishna and Rāsa-līlā along with the Nitya Siddha gopis. So Nitya Siddhadi gopi visaheva visarita. And yastu bahir gunmaya sharirvatya tapi Shri Krishna virahoshne prapanya gunmaya sharir bhavanaya भाव गुणमय शरीर भाक्त्या जनया एव विनष्ट पुरुषांतर स्पष्ट दोष चिन्मयी भूता शरीरा काश्चित् तस्यां रात्रयोः सर्वासां पश्चात् अभिसारिता काश्चित् ईशन मात्र स्थित कषाया प्रेक्ष्य विरहवशनेनैव तन्निवर्तनार्थं रात्र्यन्तरेषु अभिसारिता. So then there were some other gopis who were inside Chinmaya, but externally there were still some Gunmayatva was there. Like the mango inside ripe, but outside is not completely ripe. So they are the one which were stopped, and then by the heat, like the mango ripes with the heat, so they got the heat of separation. So Sri Krishna Virha Ashna Prapanaya Gunmaya Sharir Bhaktya Janaya Eva Vinashta Purushantar Sparsha Dosas. So their Gunmaya Sharira, which was only secondary, so then without generating another and destroying any defect of being touched by another person, so then they got the Chinmayi Bhut Sharira, they got spiritual bodies. And some of them, therefore, they were able to join the Rāsa-līlā on the same night later. They came late. So Kaschit Tasyam Ratrayo eva Sarvasam Paschad Avisarita. So when everybody has already come there, so they arrived late. And then there are others who are little more unripe. Kaschid Ishan Matra Sthita Kashaya. So some Kashaya is remaining. So Yogamaya saw this. Preksha Virha Oshnya Eva Tam Nivarthanam. So therefore they have to be ripened more by the heat of separation. So they have to feel more separation, so they could not join that night. And that separation made them purified. So Tannivartanartham Ratri Antareshu Avisarita. So then they were able to see Krishna later nights, not that night. Tataschata Prapta Rasadi Vilasaha Ratriyante Nitya Siddhadi Gopi Visaha Patigraham Agata Tadarabhya Pati Sangato Yogamaya Eva Rakshamana. So then these gopis, after attaining the opportunity to be part of the Rāsa-līlā, they came back to their houses along with the Nitya Siddha gopis. And then from that day onwards, they did not have any association with their husbands. So this was arranged by Yogamaya. So Yogamaya eva Rakshamana, they were protected by Yogamaya. And Patya Patyadishu Mamta Sunya, and they lost all their possessiveness or relation or feeling of affection for their husband or children. And Krishna Premati Bhara Paripluta, because they were completely drowned in the intense love of Krishna. Suska Payastanya, so their breast did not have any more milk. Svapatyani apushnantyo grahagrastatvenaiva tadbandhubhi pratiyante. So then they did not feed their children anymore. And to their relatives they appeared as if they had been possessed by ghosts, because they appeared lost now. Previously they were taking care of the children, etc., but not anymore. So he says, Tad bandhubhi pratiyante, that they thought that something has gone wrong with them, but they did not know. So they may be brought in some exorcists to do some tantra, etc., to remove, but it did not work, because here the ghost was very powerful. Sometimes the ghost can attack the exorcist. So this is a stronger ghost. So therefore he says Sarvam Anavadyam. He says therefore this explanation takes care of all problems. Anye to antargriha niruddhapi napatvatyah. And then there were others who, although they were blocked in the house, but they were not having any children. Agrima grantheshu apatyadi shabdai sapatni putra poshya putra bhratri putra va lakshmi. So this is the description of some other commentators say like that when it is said that they were feeding children, right? So Pai and Shishun. So there are two explanations. One is that these children belong to them only. Another is that the children which they were feeding were not their children, but children of other gopis. So this is another explanation. So he says this is children maybe of their husband's brother's wife, etc. There are no co-wives, they had only one wife. Patyadi sabde sapatni putra poshya putra bhrati putra. Okay, he says co-wife also. Yes, Vilas.
I've often heard that when the gopis came back from the Rāsa-līlā, then they would act normal in society. And but now this explanation here of Chakravarti part is a little bit different, or did I misunderstand something?
No, both are true. Because he also said that there were two sets of gopis. So sometimes they will see them like this, and then there are other ones also. Remember he said that he protected these gopis from the husbands. The other ones went, and then one set was created for the husbands. So these ones were not looking lost. Okay, Malati.
So Babaji, yesterday you explained that the Gunamaya Deha of these gopis does not refer to the Panchabhautika body, to the gross material body, but it's a subtle contamination in the mind which signifies some spirit of enjoyment. But now, when these examples were given of Dhruva and Narada, they did have a material body. So it seems that the example given refers to the Panchabhotika body that's given up. So I still don't understand it, what the gopis had before then and how it changed.
So gopis, they did not give up their body, that much you understand, right?
They didn't die. There was no death involved.
So then obviously their body was not Panchabhotika. Because Panchabhotika will drop sooner or later.
Okay, but here, I thought Yoga Maya is also playing a role that there's, even if they don't die, there could be still that transformation.
Transformation, where, in which body?
So you said yesterday their body is already some kind of, it's not the same body that we have, not the same gross material body that we have, but it is some kind of Chinmaya body then.
Yeah.
Or it's
Yeah,
okay.
So what I was saying, that it is not made of Panchabhutas, but still they had some, whatever you want to call, impurity. And that impurity was removed. Just like the example of Brahma, that he gave up his body when this happened, he gave up this body when he gave up. Means he gave up his bhav, not the actual body was given up.
Mm-hmm.
So this is purification of the bhav.
Yeah.
That's what is being described.
So there are all kinds of mixtures of Panchabhutas in bodies. It's not just black and white, but it could be like any kind of mixture.
That is also possible. That's how he said yesterday, if you remember, that when somebody takes to bhakti and then starts doing sadhana, then the person's body starts changing.
Yeah.
So impurities are removed and then spiritual body is developing.
So now, if I may ask a very basic question now, just to clarify this. We are not able with our gross eyes to see anything Chinmaya. It's not possible.
Yeah.
So now what happens here is that there's a mixture of gross material people and people Nitya Siddha Parikaras with purely Chinmaya bodies, and they can interact with each other, they can see each other, no problem. Does it mean that when Krishna manifests his pastime here, that everything becomes visible to these material eyes, which otherwise is not visible? Even
Yeah.
these all kind of mixtures.
That is the meaning of appearing here. That is the meaning of taking avatar.
Mm-hmm.
That Krishna's body is spiritual, Chinmaya, so it is not visible with our material eyes. But when he manifests here, then he makes it available. So sarve mam pashyanto, let everyone see me. So same with his associates, same with dham. It's like we read that dham is here only, but now it is not visible to us.
Yeah.
So it is aprakat. That is the meaning of aprakat. So it becomes prakat.
Yeah.
So their bodies are Chinmaya, but they appear like anyone else. That is how Yogamaya arranges in that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, Purushottam Prabhu.
The commentary itself explains this. This is where we had difficulty reading it. It said, Gunamaya Sarira Bhava Tyajanaya Eva. So this Gunamaya Sarira is not really Sarira, it's a Bhav basically. Gunamaya Bhav, Chinmaya Bhav. And when I understand this as a Bhava, then this conflict doesn't come, because Bhava can vary within one body from time to time and in all other persons and other things also as well. So when they give up Gunmaya, that means, like we said, Lord Brahma, he gave up his bhava. So this way, there is no contradictions or anything, I see it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we are calling body because the sloka uses the word deha, so therefore that is being explained. Gunmayam deham sadhya prakshina bandhana. So here, because the word bhav is not used, so that's why it is explained like that.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, Sandeep.
Pranam Babaji Maharaj. So my question is regarding this Gurmaya Bhav, which keeps getting diminished as one practices sadhana. So what is, from a sadhak's point of view, what is the experience? And also I just wanted to check on this point that normally with our Gurmaya Sharir, because we consider this Janam Mrityu Jara Vyadhi as very biggest of the problems. So, and because of the experience of suffering and pain related with all these four. So when this Gunmaya Bhav gets diminished, so does this suffering and pain also get diminished?
So first of all, again understand it very clearly that when we say Chinmay Sharir, Chinmay Deha, all this, it is all Bhav. It's a question.
That is why I use Bhav only.
So it is a question of Bhav here. It is Bhav, therefore it's not that in this body there is another body. It's a Bhav.
That I understand.
So then you should know that your Bhav is changing. Bhav means consciousness. Where is your consciousness? How much? That's why I said you can know it when you do your japa and do devotional service, where the mind is. So that's where you will see the difference. And as far as the suffering will come, but whether you become absorbed in that, you become influenced by that, that will change. If you are living in this body, you are also going to feel. But if your mind becomes absorbed, then you don't feel it same way when you are too much attached to the body. People who are very much attached to body, they suffer more than those who are less attached.
So as a practical step, because when there is a suffering or when there is some pain or this thing, then obviously the experience is like you will experience a bit of it. But like when enjoyment is there, when you have an opportunity to enjoy, if you start detaching yourself from that, and then will it be easier to detach in suffering also?
Yes.
To start from enjoyment first.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moini.
Pranam Maharaj. When death is considered as inauspicious during Rāsa-līlā, and our acharyas are interpreting it like this, so during the Nam Sankirtan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, also the child of Shrivas Pandit died. How do our acharyas interpret this?
What is the interpretation?
Like, the Nam Sankirtan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also very auspicious, and then
Yeah, but what is the interpretation? He died. What interpretation is there? They saw that he is dead. Here he is interpreting the sloka, how to interpret the sloka. Nobody is seeing them dead.
Okay.
You are seeing somebody dying in front of you, now what interpretation you give to that?
But here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying like, okay, that cannot happen during this very auspicious event, Rāsa-līlā. So Nam Sankirtan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also very auspicious, which is also compared to Rāsa-līlā. So then at that time also a death happened.
So what can I do about that?
So how do our acharyas, what do they say? Like, did they ever made a comparison among these two events, or?
No, you are the first person to make this comparison. Well, there is no comparison. I am just amazed at your mind. I am always amazed how your mind thinks. Instead of focusing what is being described here, your mind is running there, auspiciousness, this auspiciousness, and this interpretation, that interpretation. There, the interpretation was that it was to show that how Srivas Thakur was so dedicated to Mahaprabhu that he did not disturb his kirtan. You know the story, and still you are asking. He knew that his son has died. But did he cry? Did he tell his wife that we please go and cry? And he says, no, nobody should make any noise, any difference, so that Mahaprabhu's kirtan is not disturbed. So this is to show that the inauspicious thing may have happened, but Mahaprabhu was not informed about it, so that he continues with his Leela. And you know the story, but still you are asking. I don't know why. You know the story, right?
Yeah, I know the story.
So, this is what happened. And then you are saying how Acharyas, so Acharyas already explained to show that how dedicated Srivas Thakur was to Mahaprabhu. That anybody's son, young son dies, they will cry, they will run around, and he says, forget it. Don't disturb Mahaprabhu's Leela. You know this. You know the interpretation. Still you are saying how our Acharyas interpreted it. You already know it.
Yeah, I was just asking because in Rāsa-līlā they say like death cannot happen.
It is not, it cannot happen. Where did it say it cannot happen?
They say like the interpretation that the gopis died is not so would disturb the rasa in the reading, or the bhav in the reading.
No, you are not listening. You put too much of your own thoughts into it. It is Krishna who said that these gopis are Kalyani, and he says Kalyani means auspicious. And if it is auspicious means therefore there should not have been death. Not that it cannot happen.
Oh.
I already told you that he is trying to interpret it by seeing the sloka from 47th chapter where Krishna is calling. So if he is calling them auspicious, that means an auspicious thing did not happen. And now you twist it that it is said that death cannot happen. Where is it said?
Clear, I see.
So please listen carefully and don't unnecessarily make your mind run here, there and then bring this point, that point. He said why the sloka says that they gave up their body, right? Jahur gunmayam deham sadhya prakshina bandhana. That their bandhan, their bondage was cut immediately, and therefore they gave up their gunmay body. So now he is saying that did they really give up the body? So then he goes to 47th chapter where Krishna is using a similar statement, how he was paralleling the words of that sloka to here. And then he says because he is calling them as Kalyani, which means very auspicious. So therefore death must not have happened. And then he gives an interpretation. And he already said that the word Gunmaya has no meaning here. You could have said that they gave up their body because body is Gunmaya, only it is understood. So therefore he says that there must be two, then there is a Chinmaya Deha and Gunmaya Deha. So he explained. He never said death cannot happen. So now you twist it to death cannot happen, and then you said death happened there. How is that it happened there? And this is Rāsa-līlā, that is also Rāsa-līlā. How Kirtan is Rāsa-līlā?
I have heard that Mahaprabhu's bhav was Rāsa-līlā bhav.
In the Kirtan?
Yeah. But in the Rath Yatra, the bhav was.
This was Rath Yatra or this was in the house of Srivas Thakur?
I have understood like this, like all.
That's why I'm saying you understand too many things unnecessarily. Rath Yatra is different. There Krishna is going from Dwarka to Braj. So therefore the mood was like that. This was a kirtan in the house of Srivas Thakur. So where is Rāsa-līlā there?
So the kirtans in the house, they are not compared to Rāsa-līlās?
I don't know, I never heard that.
Thank you.
Yeah, because
Yeah, well, actually, the question is almost dead with all of the answers that you give. Just I want to confirm, after someone reached the bhav, and in this case, this sadhana siddh has they reached this prema. So this prema is the basis of the bhav. After that, this bhav can be refined in many other deeper feelings from this prema that they have. So when they say like they abandon some bhav also, to what is exactly referred to those things in prema that don't let them go deeper in the refinement of this feeling, or is something else?
so this refinement is of the intensity of purity to do service. It is the refinement. You can do service with so many different moods. Hanuman is also doing service. Prahlad is also doing service. Pandavas are also doing service. They are all pure devotees. Right? Yadavas are also pure devotees, and Braj Bhaktas are also pure devotees. What is the difference? So this is already explained there, that the gopis are those what is called Mukta Pragraha Nyaya. Mukta Pragraha means that if you have a horse and you ride a horse, so you are holding the ropes, the rein of the horse in your hand, right? Now if you leave that, then horse will run at its top speed. So therefore, love for Krishna in the case of gopis is like that. It is a horse running without any reins, uncontrolled. Everywhere else it is being controlled. That is what is called as upadhi. Some restriction is there. So queens have restriction. They are queens. So they cannot do certain things because queens have to follow certain protocol. So similarly, somebody is in dasya bhav. So dasya bhav cannot jump on the shoulder of the master and go and touch his beard or something, or his put hand on his head. This is not. So there is a protocol, right? Similarly, friends. So they all have their certain limitations. When it comes to wife, so wife is most intimate. That's why the gradation dasya, sakhya, vatsalya, and then madhurya, because husband and wife are more intimate than between friends or parents. You cannot be that intimate. But then wife also has certain restrictions. But if somebody is like gopis which are not married, they don't have any restriction like that. So this is what is being described here. And this is called nirupadhik prem. So nirupadhik means totally free. Means their mind is not being pinched by something, that if I do this, what somebody else will say, what that person will say, what this person say, what he will say, not like that. So they are absolutely free to do that. And this is what is being described here, and this is the greatness of the gopis. That their love is so powerful and so strong. It's not that it just happens like that, but their love is so strong that nothing else can restrict it. So that's why Uddhav said that Aryapatham Chahitva, that even the Aryapatha means the moral, ethical principles, the social rules. they did not follow that. That shows the power of their love. That their love was so strong that nothing could restrict them. That is what is being described here. So that is one thing, and second thing is that your own desire to enjoy. That even if you are free to do that, like in the material world also, in the material love, the girl may not care for anything, but it is her own desire to enjoy. So that is second factor. So that is what is said, that Jahu Gunamayardaya, that it is the purification of the bhava. That if they had any sense of restriction by this, because of what family people will say, or if there is any sense of their own enjoyment, this got burnt. That's what it means, Jahur Gunamayam Deham. So therefore there is nothing physical to be given up. So just now also when we are talking, you have a spiritual body and a material body. Spiritual body does not mean that there is some hands and legs inside. And it's not like that. So when I'm saying your body develops, then you start thinking now the body is growing. It's not. It just, language has got its restriction. It has to be put up in some sense. And it's given some form so that people can think. So all it means is that is a refinement of your consciousness. To begin with, we all have material attachments, we all have material ideas, and we have our own ahankara, who I am, our own identities related with body, my country, my family, my background. And because of that, we do things and we get restricted or we create offenses. So as you grow on bhakti, these things, if you are sincere about it, otherwise you can remain in this for 50 lifetimes like that, no problem. Krishna is not in anxiety that he is missing you or something. So then you start realizing it yourself that okay, actually this is wrong on my part, or this should not be like that, Otherwise everybody is proud. Why it is said, you be humble. So everybody thinks, who is like me? I am the best. Nobody sees their own flaws. So when a situation like this comes, when there is a separation, in separation generally you see the good qualities of the person. It's like I give the example, my favorite. Now you have teeth in your mouth, you don't care about them. But one teeth starts shaking, then you realize the importance of the teeth. Right? You are running to Delhi 30 times for one teeth. Little thing, And then if it is lost, you meet an accident and you lose one tooth, then you understand the importance of the tooth. So separation makes you understand the value of something. So that's why the separation purifies. When you are together, you don't see the good quality, you are seeing faults. Not gopis don't see fault, but in general, when we are materially conditioned, familiarity breeds contempt, famous saying in English. So you become contemptuous. When you are at a distance, you can appreciate better. Like people living in Vrindavan here, many of them, I'm not saying everybody is like that, but many of them, they don't bother about it. They don't even understand what great opportunity they have. So they say, oh, it's the same. But then there are some other who are hankering and cannot come here. So they are thinking of Vrindavan and its wonderful nature and qualities. They read, they recite stotras. So the separation creates, so that brings purification. Because purification comes by meditation. That's why it says Dadhyumilita Lochana. Meditating in a positive manner. You can also meditate. Of course, in case of Krishna, everything purifies. Dvaishad Kansa Bhayad Chanti. But that's not something which is recommended. So this is what it means, developing body or purifying or giving up body. So that's That's the example of Brahma when it was said that he gave up that body. Means he gave up that idea which was wrong. So that is purification. Because the whole thing is a bhav, not of the body. This is what is to be understood. Spirituality means bhav. Change is to be brought at the level of bhav, not at the level of body. Body will change anyway by itself and it will be given up. So it is the wrong concepts, wrong ideas, wrong bhav which has to be given up. And that is very difficult. Because first of all it is very subtle and it is closer to us. Body is little far away from us because we are Atma. And then Atma has causal body, then subtle body, then gross body. So Annamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. So Annamaya is little far away. So when something is far away, it is possible to see problems. When something is very close, you don't see, just like we don't see our own eyelids. So therefore we don't see the problems at the level of our consciousness. If I am proud, if I am disrespectful, I don't see that. Even if somebody points it out to me, I don't see it. But if I have a fever, I feel it. Or somebody sees you, he says, you don't look well, are you sick? So you don't become offended by that. But if you are sick at the subtle level and somebody says, you are jealous, then immediately you defend. No, how do you say like this? So why is that? Because there is more identification with the subtle body than with the gross body. Also subtle body does not change even at the time of death. Gross body changes. So therefore attachment is deeper in that level. So that's the problem. That's why you need teacher. Why it says, why Krishna says that if you are serious, go to teacher. Because you won't see it. It's not possible. Only somebody like Dattatreya, you can learn from a pigeon, you can learn from a snake. Because they are already so highly elevated, so they can understand. But a common person cannot. It's not possible. It's impossible. It's very simple. Okay, Raghava.
It's the first time that I hear the word upadi in the context of spiritual entities or highly, like the queens of Dwaraka.
Good. That's very good that you heard it first time.
Before I only heard that upadi, for example, at the time of dissolution, the jivas are in the susupti state because there are no upadis to get the bodies. So the word, there are spiritual upadi and material upadis?
Yeah, all types of upadis.
And upadi, what does it mean? Designation?
Upadhi means something which is near to you and it influences you.
Designation, does it mean designation? No.
That is one translation. Can be designated. Just like if you do PhD, that is also called upadhi.
What?
Suppose you do PhD, then
Yes.
PhD is called upadhi.
Why?
Because it's a designation, you just now said.
It's a designation. So Queen of Dwaraka is a designation too, also.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Haribol.